Okay, day 686 off the grid, and I've had a chance to do a bit more work on my power room light here. So I've got well into the wiring and stuff here, as you can see. I've got the relay there installed, and I decided to go for one of these bulb holders here. In fact, this one is the one we used to have up in the toilet at Foxton Beach, because the place we rented didn't actually have a light in the toilet. So we built up this little solar thing, used a whole lot of solar garden light cells to charge up a couple of 18650s. So yeah, I've been playing around with lithium ions for quite a long time. But I rescued this and decided to use it here. I've kind of done it in a bit of a clever way, because normally you would mount these on the surface and run the wires to these two terminals here, but that would have looked a bit scruffy, because then we'd need lugs coming off from wires running back through the plastic. So I just swapped out the bolts for longer ones and made them both the mounting and the electrical connections. Pretty snazzy, eh? So I reckon it looks pretty cool. Soon, Amon. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have a 12 volt bulb to fit in here. I've only got a 24 volt one, so it looks a bit dim, but you'll get the idea. Oh, and another thing you might notice is I've actually put a polarization on here, positive. Even though a lamp like this is not polarized and a relay is not polarized, one day I may put an LED bulb or something in there, so I've sort of kept my polarity specified all the way through. So really there's not much more to do with this, but to maybe improve a bit of insulation around the relay contacts here, because after all we do have high voltages and low voltages fairly close together. And well, that's it really. Just do that and cap it up, and then it will be installed in the shed. So obviously you might want to see it go as it is. Well, obviously there we go, there's the bypass switch, it does its trick. So I'll turn it off bypass. Of course it doesn't turn on that bulb because this runs from the low voltage side.
Like a snake.
And if I connect the low voltage source up to the control input or trigger input, it turns on due to the relay, and the little bulb glows as well. Like I said, extremely dim when it's a 24 volt bulb on a 12 volt source. Well, this isn't even 12 volts, this battery at the moment. So it works as intended. You know, big fuss over a light, but you know, I think it's a pretty cool light. Now I've got to film Amon here, because he's been in here watching me, and we've been talking about this light, and we've actually drawn a schematic of it. So hey, if you want to build your own, there's the schematic. Screen cap now. What do you want to say, Amon?
Well, so this part here is the battery here, and this is I think that's the actual snake, I think.
Yeah, that was the snake. Yeah.
And it comes through. It can go through both. Some of it can go past this little bulb. Some of it can go past the coil, and it'll return to the battery, to the negative terminal. Yeah, but also on this one, the bulb's here, but it always has to go through here.
Always has to go through this switch, yeah, because that's the series with the whole entire circuit.
And these, what I call horns, one could, if one horn's in the head there, that means the stuff, the electricity can go through there, can go through this one. But if both of the horns are in the head, that means they can both. But if another horn is in the head, that means it can go on that horn or this horn.
Yep, so if this switch here is closed, which is the relay contact, and this switch is closed, will the LED bulb go?
So this bulb will go if this switch was closed and this horn here was in the head. This LED bulb, like on there,
Yeah, this LED bulb here, which we've represented by this LED symbol with this extra bit.
Yeah, it will light up.
Yep.
Which is really good.
In fact, we could almost look at this like a logic circuit here. This switch has to be closed and one of these, and the bulb will go. So that's an AND gate. So this and that.
So one of these horns has to be in the head,
yep.
And the switch also.
But let's assume that the switch is closed. Now for the bulb to go, this switch or this switch has to go. So that's an OR gate.
So if this horn is in like that,
yep.
It could go here.
Yep.
But if this horn is further in the head, it could go there.
Yep.
So
and what say both of them? What say both of them were closed?
Both of the horns were in the head. That means what would happen?
Well, the current would, in theory, take two paths.
Yeah, it will take the back road. It will take the normal road, which will enter this.
In practice, most of the current will take the path that offers the least resistance, and I suspect it would be the relay contacts are probably a bit more efficient than this old lamp switch here.
So probably this horn. So this horn would be better.
Quite possibly, yeah. So there we go. It's time to go and install it now. Well, I've got to remove all this crap on the floor. This is the battery charging stuff that I've been using while we've been running on the generator for like 3 times, I think, for this shitty weather. These are the chargers I use for the smaller banks, and that is what supplies charge to the A bank. It goes through the solar controller basically. But I've got to move these out of the way. I don't normally have them in here when I'm not needing the generator. So this is going to be the last hurrah for the existing light, and here's the existing light right here. As you can see, it's done something crazy when it turns on. See, oh, it's finally starting to come on.
Yeah.
You know, it's not working that well. So look, this end's finally reaching its expected brightness. It will come on full, but it will take some time to do that, as most ailing fluorescent lights do. So I guess its last job is going to be me cleaning up the battery charging stuff so I can stand in there and take it out. It's like the steam engine that built the diesel engine, if you know what I mean. Go lights off, doing the deed.
All legs are in work in progress.
There we go. She's severed. Right, now to remove this and get the new one in. Well, I guess while we're at it, I might as well show you my snazzy new glue gun. It's a Zunlay glue gun, and it'll run from 100 volts to 240 volts. It even says it's got a positive temperature coefficient resistor in it for the element, so that's kind of cool, which means it'll maintain temperature and not overheat. It's got a on-off switch built in and an LED. Why not, eh? Let's just... Oh, there we go. There's the LED. Now that LED is fortunately positioned on just the right side that if I come in here of a night, I'll see the LED going if I've left the gun on. I may not even need to take any further measures. Here's my old glue gun. It's well used. Technically this is not mine, it's actually Poppy's. Yes, I pinched it off him years ago. It's actually been a really good gun. What's it called? Arco Expert. I've had it apart a couple of times to fix it, but I don't think I'll be taking it apart this time. Look, it's just smothered in glue. I had this bit off and all sorts of things. The trigger's gummed up and been fixed, and it's gummed up again. But yeah, it was getting a bit old. Now it's blocked up through there. It could possibly be cleared out, but I don't have time to piss around with that. But anyway, I'm busy installing my bulb, so let's get back to that, shall we? Right, now as we conclude day 686 off the grid, the lamp is now fully installed in here, so shall we give it a try? Let there be light. Whoa. Whoa. Now, that's good. I mean, even while it's still daylight, you can see the difference it makes. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's worked really well. You might have detected in the earlier parts of this video, I was kind of a bit nostalgic or something about the old light. Yeah, I'm kind of allergic to change, but then you go and make a change and it's better, and this is truly better. I mean, this is just lit up like there's a floodlight in here now. I mean, working in here at night is going to be awesome, and it probably doesn't use that much more juice. This is 10 watts. I think the existing one was 8 watts, so a couple more watts. But of course I'm pulling this from 230 volts AC, so there is the inverter to consider, but currently it's running off the fridge freezer circuit, the 24 volt circuit, so that inverter is always on anyway, so it's not really a big deal. Yeah, well pleased. It's controlled by the 12 volt lighting circuit here. I didn't have to do any rewiring of that circuit apart from cutting off the old light and just wiring its wires into the terminal up there. As you can see, there's my backup bulb. It's just a little MES 12 volt 100 milliamp job, 1.2 watts I guess that would make it. It's actually not too bad, although I couldn't really demo it now. When it's dark you can actually see it's not very bright obviously, but it's bright enough to kind of see things at a push if you really needed it, you know. So the system works really well. Of course, if the switch is off and the 12 volt circuit wasn't working, I can just go up here to the lamp switch and push it on like that. So I've got my redundancy there. Let's turn it back on with the main switch, but I've got the convenience of switching all the lights on from that main switch there, and it's just bright. You know, I'm just really happy with it. You know, it's a job that's been on my mind for a wee while. I've thought about it, how I'm going to do it, and kind of executed it. One little thing was, you know, there's always a couple of mechanical bumblefucks or, you know, bodgers or whatever. One thing was that I hadn't really considered that this beam here is actually on an angle. It's on a slight tilt, so of course I set this box onto the lamp straight, and I did decide to screw this in with the screw hole I made through that, so that's actually screwed on. I was able to use the existing cable ties, even the existing cable ties from the old light, because of course this light is thinner, so once I cut them off I was able to reuse them with this one, which was handy because they were stuck into the staples up there really tight. But this is on a kind of an angle, so the light's tilted to bias towards this direction a little bit more, and you know, that's okay, that's fine, there's no problem there. I mean, this is where most of the action goes on anyway, so that's all good, no issues with that. And the other bumblefuck was the way I mounted this terminal block, and where this is mounted, the wires come out the side. That's no problem, they were easy to put in, that's all I was thinking about, but getting a screwdriver into the screws on this end turned out to be a major hassle. In fact, it got to the point where I actually had to build my own tool. I built the screwdriver. In fact, I spent a fair amount of time and had to haul out quite a few tools, a miniature anvil, a file, a hammer for beating it, a hacksaw, vice grips to hold it while I was cutting it off. And this is just made from a nail that I cut down. I cut it down, I filed and hammered a screwdriver shape on the end and just built up the handle with a bit of, you know, gaff tape, MacGyver tape. So I've built myself a really short-handled sort of electrical terminal size screwdriver, and that did the job pretty well. I guess now I've got that for any future situations where you have an awkward length to work in. It's not made from hardened metal, so of course it's going to go blunt relatively quickly, but of course made from soft, mild steel, I guess I can just sharpen it again into a screwdriver again whenever I need it. I'm not going to need it that much, but there's something obscenely satisfying about making your own tools, you know, and it's not that easy to actually make a screwdriver head. It does actually take quite a bit of shaping to get just the right shape to make them effective. My initial thing was to just grab one of these bits, you know, and just use that as a screwdriver, which is probably why this Phillips one is actually in here, because I obviously had a tight spot with a Phillips screw. But the only flathead ones I had were it was too wide. Well, too wide, and the bit itself was even too thick, so I had to actually go ahead and make this little fella up. So there we go, I made a screwdriver. But, you know, the things you do, eh? And I guess this is day 686 off the grid. This is pretty much the end. I may come out later and film this light going by itself, this little 12 volt bulb by itself, or I may not. I've actually borrowed this from the internet thingy we've got outside, because for the bulb trick thing, because I haven't got any more of these 12 volt ones. I'm going to have to go to J-Car next time and pick up some more. So there we have it. Well, you know, I just couldn't resist it. Here's the nighttime view of the new shed light. Whoa, I can film in here at night now. You know, that is pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I'm actually really pleased. Wow. In fact, even during the daytime it'll be better filming now with this light. But one of the main reasons why I came out here at night was to switch off the main light and just see what this little emergency bulb actually does for lighting. So, here we go. And there we are. Well, you can't see it on camera very well, it's too dim now to film, but it's definitely lighting up the room a little bit. Well, it's better than it being dark. Okay, I should twist out the bulb. So, bulb's out. You're just going to have to take my word for this, it's too dark for you to see a difference. Bulb's on. Yeah, it makes a difference. It makes a difference between it being an uncomfortable darkness in this part of the shed, because obviously I've still got the light from the LEDs over here, to a workable one at least. But it's largely a moot point, because this wonderful bright LED fluorescent tube replacement light's going to be on, and it's lit up like London, as they say. So awesome, eh? Awesome. Yep, that's enough. We're finished. We're finished with today's off the grid thing. I've just had the toaster oven on, doing our ovenies tonight. I couldn't be fucked setting up the coal range. We've had enough charging the batteries, so I used the toaster oven. So that's just coming to an end now. We're going to go and have some dinner and watch some Doctor Who. So that's day 686 off the grid.